Hey everyone, 11 days to go. Today marks a shift, the final story in a chapter of stories that have been predominantly focused on me, with me as the center of the story, to a chapter of stories where the people, the forgotten voices of Southern Africa, will be the focus of my stories. It's a shift that I'm excited about, a list of stories that I'm anxious to tell you. But today marks the end of the first kind, stories that are centered upon me. But in a way, it's a great transition story. It's a story that takes us back to Prudence. I had been warned that she had passed away, and I asked for prayer for people here in the States to pray that I would be a beacon of hope and joy and steadiness and peace to the family. That as I visited with the Mpofus and all their relatives and visited the graveside, that they would know and experience God's peace. I didn't expect the level of sorrow. Up to that point, as much as I loved her and as much as I loved the family, up to that point I still believe I was just captured by the idea of starting a nonprofit and starting a movement and mobilizing people in the States to love these people that I loved in Zimbabwe. But in that moment when I visited the grave and held Peterson's hand and walked up to visit Prudence's grave and the mother's grave, and I grieved an uncontrollable grief, and I wept with them and experienced great sorrow, that was a trigger where over time and in the months and years that followed, God, I saw, used that moment of sorrow for me to birth great joy and love for a people, and helped me realize that each death, each statistic had a name, and every name had a story, and each story had a voice that was on the verge of being forgotten unless we helped the church meet these critically important needs and love people in a way that Christ desires us to love. So in my hour of sorrow, hope was born, and I thank God for the people that prayed for me to open my mind and heart to what God wanted to show me. That was a trigger moment for me, and a moment that I pray will be deeply embedded in my heart and mind for the rest of my days leading Forgotten Voices. See you tomorrow.